Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to the CloudAccess.net free weekly webinar. This week we are going to be doing blogging tips and tricks in the Getting Started series. And my name is Danielle Hardy. I will be your host. I am the support team lead here, and I do a few other things as well, including these webinars. This week we are going to be talking about some of my favorite tips and tricks about blogging. Basically, some of the favorite things that we like to do at the company as well. Now, I do want to say that if you have any questions, we can definitely answer them as we go, or preferably at the end. There is a question and answer box at the bottom of this call, and there's also a chat that you can use. Doesn't matter which one you want to do, you can do either or. Okay, so some of the basics about blogging. The first thing that you need to do is find a host that you like. And I can't stress this enough, it doesn't matter if they are more expensive or cheaper. I mean, it might starting out financially, but you want to look for one that has some of the best specifications when it comes to speed, such as how many RAM gigabytes or anything like that that you have on your server. We will go through all of that if you want to reach out to us and let you know how much that we offer. And most hosts will actually give you all that information so you can compare it between that one and another one. We actually have a few different comparisons on ours that we can send over to if you wanted to ask. And when I say a host that you like, it's not just about that either. We're going to go over a little bit more about that shortly. You need to identify your prospective audience. So basically, you need to find out who you're going to be targeting your blog towards. You need to write for yourself as well as your prospective audience. You definitely need to start building your email list right away. You need to have some sort of incentive. You need to be willing to fail. That's a hard one. We'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end. Okay, so more on finding a host you like. There are thousands of different hosts out there that you need to compare with. Just like us, as far as hosting providers go, we are actually in between the smaller and medium scope of sizes. It doesn't matter if it's a smaller host or a larger host. You just need to do some searching and see what ones that seem the best to you, and then you can get started with the comparisons. Like I said, do not always look for the cheapest. I mean, cheap can definitely be good, but when it comes to your blog, you want to make sure there's fail-safes like backups and support and people working there that you can rely on, and that doesn't always come with them being cheap, unfortunately. You need to make sure that you're able to look at the server specifications. If they don't want to tell you that information, it's probably because they don't have some of the best specs. So it's very important to get that right off the bat. I would say before you even sign up to use them. One thing that I actually do like about CloudAccess.net here is that if the specifications that we have for you aren't enough, we have 4 different packages that you can add on to your sites just to give you a little bit more, and you can add them and remove them as you need. So I'm sure that other hosts have things like that too. So that's something fun to look for. Support availability. This is also very important because, you know, you might be working on something very important on your site at 10 o'clock at night, and some companies don't have 24/7 support like we do. And while we understand that, it kind of doesn't really help you out when you need help at 10 o'clock at night and there's nobody there until 8 a.m. the next day. So I would definitely say try to find a host that has 24/7 support or as close to that as possible. You also need to look at the different tools that the host offers. So a lot of them use cPanel. Some of them use different custom panels like we have. And a lot of the custom panels will have custom tools as well. cPanel definitely has some great tools and great features, so I'm not saying anything wrong about them for working with them, but just be sure to look for that. And honesty. If they're kind of swinging you around the bush when you're trying to answer or ask them questions, or they don't really seem like they're giving you the full truth, that's kind of something to look out for too, because they need to be as honest as possible, or you're not getting the information that you need and that you want. And the biggest one for bloggers, speed. You need a host that can host a speedy website. It's not going to do you any good to have a A-class blog if it takes 5 minutes to load it. So that's another thing with the specifications. They tie into speed, but only to a certain extent. I'm actually going to be sending out an email after this to everybody that attended, and it is going to have some information on our CCP tools, of course. And I'm also going to add in some different links and some information about different speed testers on your website and some of the best ways that I know of to improve the site speed for you. It's going to have some email tips as well and some of my favorite tools to just get a blog going and working as best as it can. Okay, next, identifying your prospective audience. This area is mostly going to be asking questions. So when it comes to your audience, you need to think, who are you wanting to target? Because who you want to target is extremely important. And this, you could think of it any way that you want: males, females, different age groups, animal lovers, crafters, anything like that. Just kind of take a little note down and think about what you want to do there. And then sit back and think, who out of your friends and family that you are already influencing? I'm sure they might not be very upfront about it, but I'm sure that all of you are at least already influencing quite a few people. So if you just go around and ask, you might get some good feedback on that, and you can take their interest in mind and kind of apply that when you're thinking about who you want to target as well. Now, the people that you want to target and the ones that you're already influencing, what do they generally do? So are they millennials that spend a lot of their time in front of screens? Are they in a different generation? You know, do they enjoy reading books? That's another thing to think of when you're coming up with your blog plans, is what all you want to include on it, and thinking about it that way will help you do so. Where are they doing these things? So are they sitting in front of a computer, or are they on their phone? Are they reading letters that come in the mail? Are they checking their email daily? You need to kind of keep that in mind, because that will help you focus on where you want to send out the information or how you want to send it out. And also, when are they doing this? So are they somebody, or not somebody, but are they generally a group of people that checks their emails early in the morning, or do they normally do it at nighttime? Do they tend to check your website at noon? Like, is that when your biggest influx of viewers are? That will let you know when it's the opportune time to post blogs or send email blasts or anything like that. And lastly in this section, why are they doing it? If you can figure out why to the best of your ability, you can figure out different ways to kind of make them want to be interested in what you're posting. Just one moment, we have a question. And I hope you don't mind me reading this out loud, but this is from Josie. If I already have a hosting site with you and add the blog, what speeds is needed? There's not a lot of traffic, but I am working on promoting the website. Okay, so if there's not a lot of traffic yet, then honestly, what you already have is going to be working good for you. We have two gigs of RAM, 2 CPU cores, and generally for most websites, they run decently fast. If you want, I will actually take a look at your website and I can send you an email out afterwards. Just like a quick little analysis and just kind of send you some information about it. So yeah, no problem. And if any of you have requests like that too, feel free to post it just like Josie did, and I'll get back to you as well. Okay, next, this one is really important just for your peace of mind. You don't want to just think about your audience when you're writing and blogging. You want to be sure to write for yourself too, because you're the one that wanted to start this, right? So it's not just about your audience. So there's a reason that you wanted to start this. Keep that reason in mind while you're getting your blog set up and even while you're doing it. It's very important to think about that. Also, any questions that aren't specifically about what we're doing here, I'll just answer right at the end so you all know. So feel free to post those too. Okay, and then use the who, what, when, where, and why for yourself as well, not just for your audience. Because this is every bit as important as the audience. You need to also be thinking about what you want to write, who you want to target, when you want to write, where you want to do it, and why are you doing this. And you want to set a schedule for yourself off of that. That's what I find is best is, you know, if you don't want to wake up at 6 a.m. and start work right away, well, then don't do that. You're not going to be happy with it, and your work is going to reflect that. So make sure that you set a schedule on something that you would enjoy too. And as I just sort of mentioned, it's the most important that you're enjoying what you're doing because that reflects in your work. And even just with text, believe it or not, you can tell when somebody isn't quite as happy if you're an avid reader when you're reading over their writing. So the happier you are, the better your writing is, in my opinion. Okay, next, building your email list. So this is actually one of the most important things. This is something that we prioritize too, even at this company. So even if you aren't selling, it's necessary to have an email list. You don't have to sell. It's not all about selling. Sometimes it's just about reaching your readers. So there's another thing that I've recently found, directly reaching people. So I don't know if most of you use Gmail or not, but I'm sure a lot of you have at least one Gmail email address. If you do, you'll notice that it has different tabs that your emails are automatically sent to. One of them is promotions. Now, as great as it is being a user, it's not great for companies when they're trying to send out email blasts to their subscribers and they're just going straight to the promotions box and we don't even get bumped that we have a new email. So after this, when I do send you out an email, I am going to be letting you know some of the ways that you can avoid being sent directly to the promotions box. I've been doing a lot of research on this lately and I think it'll be really good for you all. So that'll be coming later. Now, when you're first trying to start your business or your blog, it's hard to keep track of all those little things, and emails that you've been gathering from people is absolutely one of them. I can't tell you how many emails I've lost, you know, just throughout since I started using emails. And the more that you collect, the better that your email list is going to be, and the more people that you're going to reach. So even if you just have to have a little shoebox full of business cards or full of note cards and sticky notes that you've been writing email addresses in to start out with, that's always a great idea. And I mean, you may even have a bunch before you've even gotten your blog started. So keep that in mind throughout the whole time that you're working on it. Next, I want to talk about incentives. This is the number one thing that you can use to keep and gain new readers. Now, it doesn't just mean giving away something. It can mean, promoting, like at 5 o'clock today, we're going to have a drawing for the title #1 blogger or something like that. Just something that makes people feel good. They really enjoy that. Some examples are like free webinars like we do here, free information packets, which can just be like a few page long PDFs in an email, just kind of teaching them how to do something or giving them more information about stuff. Monthly swag winners, like a free t-shirt with your logo printed on it, or free one-on-one session where you consult them on some things. Those are incentives that get people happy about your business and make them want to be part of it. It makes them kind of feel like they are part of it too, so they get a little bit happier and they want to subscribe more, and they tend to pay more attention too. Bottom line there is people like free things, and there's no better incentive than free. Be willing to fail. The word failure isn't as scary as it sounds. Biggest thing with failing is it's actually sort of great because you have to learn before you can grow and get better. And the first couple times you do something, it may feel like a failure, but that doesn't mean that it is. Others may have a different definition of that as well. Just because you did something once and it didn't go very well, they may think you failed, but really, you're just on the path to learning to do it better. And you can definitely get there with that practice. You're not failing, you're learning and succeeding. So when you hear the word fail, you should think, oh, well, that's just kind of a stepping ladder for me. That's just the bottom and I can go up from there. And I know this was kind of a short webinar, so apologies for that, but there's going to be a lot of information that I'm going to send out in an email for you all. And I want to thank you for joining. And I am going to check out a couple questions that we have now. So this one is from Nassim, and I am sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is there any recommended template or plugin for easy blogging website creation? Actually, yes. So you can use BoldGrid, and it's sort of a drop and click website builder to an extent, but you can use it for all different sorts of platforms. And actually, I will take a note down and I will send you some information on them as well. But they're really great, and you can use their template within our hosting too. Does anybody else have any questions? You can post them down below or anything like that. I'll give you a moment to post them if you do have a question. Okay, so let's see. We have another question from Stephanie. Do you recommend paying to gain emails? If so, do you recommend a service? That is actually a great question. I've never personally done that, and I don't know many people who have that have told me they have anyways. I'm not sure if I would recommend that. While you would get a lot of emails and you would be able to certainly build up your list, if that's your goal, that's great. I don't know if they would be quite as interested in reading your email if their email was bought by a subscriber. You see what I mean? But if that's the case, then I would just say kind of look it up. If you want, I can actually send, I can actually kind of do a little bit of searching and send that to you. So let me take a note real quick. I'll see if I can find something. Okay. Tinasim, yes, that was bold grid, and I'll send you an email about that too. Let's see here. And from Josie, best color schemes. So I would say that actually depends on you. The biggest thing that you should look for is not using too many bright colors, because for one, that can hurt people's eyes when they look at the screen. I know I have sensitive eyes from staring at a computer all the time, and bright colors, I just want to look away immediately. You want to make sure that the colors aren't too close together. So the color schemes that we have up on the screen right now, like that blue and the orange and the dark blue, they kind of go together nicely and they don't contrast too far away. And another thing there, your fonts. The fonts are the biggest thing that you want to look out for when it comes to color schemes. You don't want things that jump apart too quickly, and you don't want things to blend together. You also want to make sure that it's a font that people can clearly read. If you do something that's written in cursive and stuff, while that looks pretty, it isn't very easy to read, and it doesn't look that nice on a website when somebody is trying to just scroll through it and understand what you're talking about. So those are my suggestions there. The best fonts you're asking, or universal website font, I would say like Comic Sans or Times New Roman. Those are generally the ones I see everywhere. Yeah, I think I would go with Times New Roman personally. That's kind of my favorite regular font. Let's see, from Irfan, I believe that's your name. How to handle content writing on autopilot. By that, I'm assuming you're meaning just writing content all the time. It's certainly difficult. The most I can say with that is be sure to give your hands some breaks and stretch your wrist out too. That's what I have to do throughout the day, because I write for about 8-9 hours a day while I'm working, and you need to do that. As far as thought processes go, be sure to give your mind some breaks too, because it's not going to just constantly flow out every day. So, maybe take a few days to just sit back and write some ideas down before you're actually trying to write all the content. Like when I do slides and stuff, I will pick just the first slide, and I will put all of the things that I'm going to write about, and then I'll work on the content afterwards. Another question, how often should you blog, or is it different for each website? Actually, yeah, it's different for each website. Generally, we do about 2 to 3 blogs a month, or we aim to do that, but it depends on the type of blog that you're trying to do. So if you're trying to do one for like financial advice, maybe once or twice a month, because people aren't going through their financials every single day and trying to set budgets. They usually only do that sort of stuff once a month. So if you're doing a crafting website, well, people like to do crafts daily if they are a crafter. So maybe like a blog once a week. So think about your targeted audience there as well. And then think about how often they want or they do the things that you're blogging about, and kind of base the amount of blogs you write off of that. Now, any recommendation for blog hosting services? Absolutely. Us, CloudAccess.net. That is going to be my best recommendation. I know there's many other blogging websites out there, but a lot of them have proprietary website builders, meaning that if you build your website on their platform, it's going to be very difficult to migrate it away. In a lot of cases, you can't even do that. They will keep it, and you can't take it away. So yeah, honestly, I would say that our hosting service is pretty good for blogs. A large majority of our clients do host blogs on our services. Let's see, from Stephanie, do you recommend a blogging component for Joomla? Well, we got a couple of requests for that now. So as far as the component goes, Let me take a look and I will see if I can find some of that out information for you too. And I can actually share all of these questions right in the email that I send all of you. So I'm going to do that instead of individual emails. So let me just write that down, Stephanie, and I'll send that out to you as well. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so what about videos in your blog? I'm not sure if I would do them in the blog actual part. Maybe have another page or something that's in your blog where you just have videos and it's all categorized. That might be a little bit easier for your subscribers or viewers to see. Do we host apps at CloudAccess.net? So that's kind of tricky. We host websites specifically, but I know that there are some apps out there, or I'm sorry, there's some plugins out there for WordPress that you can create an app with. I don't personally know how that works, but you could check that out. And as far as videos go, actually, I think what I tend to do is I will get the embed code from YouTube and I will upload my video to YouTube and then I will embed it into a site. So it's kind of your personal preference. It is worth noting that if you put too many videos on your site and not embedding them, that your site's going to get a little bit slower. So I would not suggest doing that with a bunch. If you want to do a couple, that should be totally fine. And thank you. So are there any other questions today? No? Okay, awesome. So like I said, I will be sending guys out an email. It's either going to go out later today or maybe early in the morning because I have a lot of content to add to it for you all. And this is only going to be going to you all who subscribed as well. So keep that in mind for our next one. And so we will also have this video posted on YouTube if you need to go back to that in a few days. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And it's just Cloud Access for all of our handles. And I want to thank you all again. Have a good rest of your day, and we will see you in a week or so.